Hello, Feuzion. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Fusion News, and we have another big show for you this morning. I'm on the phone with Justin Shackil, who is the scoreboard and digital host for the New York Yankees. So, Justin, Yankee spring training, we're 13 days away from opening day. Can you believe it? We're this close to opening day now?
When the schedule came out last season, Alex, and I saw March 28th would be opening day, I kind of said to myself, well, I find that hard to believe this far out because somehow, some way, the weather gets involved. But hopefully that's not the case this year. Hopefully it will have spring-like weather a little bit early, and that's because baseball is coming earlier this year, and I can't wait to get it going.
Well, now that Odell Beckham Jr. is no longer in New York, the Aaron Judge is basically the face of New York sports now, and it's a perfect time. Yankee season right around the corner. What's going to be the biggest challenge for the Yankees this upcoming season, in your opinion?
I think it's the area in which they improved upon in the offseason. I think it's still a little bit of a challenge for them, especially out of the gate. And I'm talking about their starting rotation. They definitely improved it in the offseason with James Paxton. They have Jay Happ now for a full season, and we were able to see what he could do in a sample size after coming over from the Blue Jays last year. But again, you have questions starting right at the top of the rotation with Luis Severino now, and you're holding your breath as he has these 2 weeks to rest with some shoulder inflammation. But I think even before he went down with his injury, you had a question mark hanging over Luis Severino's head. What would he be exactly? Would he be the ace-type pitcher that you saw the first half of last season, or would you see something in between of that type of pitcher and the pitcher that he showed down the stretch where people are still wondering what happened? So there's a question mark right at the top whether or not Luis Severino heads into opening day healthy or not. And then you go to the back of the rotation with CC Sabathia. What can he give you as he approaches the final year of his long and storied career as a number 5 pitcher in your rotation? And even a guy like James Paxton, great stuff. One of the, I think, best moves of the offseason in all of baseball, but he hasn't been known for his durability. Can he kind of change that pattern as he gets to New York is a big question. So yes, they improved in the starting rotation. How much, though, remains to be seen.
Well, the Yankees are, having the talks of using the potential quote-unquote opener for at least one of their rotation spots. What's your opinion on the Yankees using the opener?
Yeah, I think if the situation presented itself, I think it's probably a route that they go. I don't think they're going to be necessarily throwing out an opener the way the Rays did, where they would, basically do it 3 out of the 5 days through a rotation. If the opportunity presented itself, and they could throw out, a reliever, and I think, it wouldn't be so much as an opener and then followed by a starter. It would probably be a bullpen day, so to speak. But it's a trend for sure. It's a growing trend. You're going to see more teams doing it, and I think you can count the Yankees in there. I don't know, if it'll be at the end of the season. You'll look back at the regular season, you say, "Wow, man, they really used the opener a ton." Maybe a handful of games sprinkled throughout the schedule, but I think it's something that we could see, not just with the Yankees, but a bunch of teams that did not do it in 2018.
We'll switch gears now and move to the offensive side for the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Hicks, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Clint Frazier, so many guys out in the outfield. And that's one of the main reasons why a lot of the people said the Yankees were never really after Bryce Harper, because of how many talented guys that they have in the outfield. But now we start looking at the injuries. Aaron Hicks might not be able to be ready for opening day. And now Florial is still getting his at-bats in spring training. What do you think the chances of us seeing Florial on this Yankee team in this regular season this season?
I really don't think the chances are high for Florial to crack the big league roster this season. I know he's still coming back from an injury that he had last season. He hasn't had too many at bats at the upper levels of the minor league system, and they obviously don't want to rush a kid so young and not set him up for success with the type of player that we've seen from Esteban Florial. Yeah, he's had a great spring training. I think something that he still needs to work on is his pitch recognition. You've heard that a lot. So I don't see him being a player this season at the big league level. But yeah, like you're right. You bring up the injuries, and Aaron Hicks's injury is kind of starting to make some fans weary. It's a situation where you keep hearing, oh, he's on the mend and he could be back and could be back on the field at any day now, and that kind of gets pushed back further and further. So, and like you mentioned, 13 days until opening day. You just wonder if Aaron Hicks now is going to be ready for opening day. And suddenly you talk about the outfield depth that they have. Well, it takes a big hit when your center fielder goes down, because yeah, they have plenty of depth at the corners, but they don't have a true player that can probably fill in adequately in center field. I know Brett Gardner's done it plenty of times, but I don't necessarily think the Yankees want a guy like Brett Gardner, who's 35 now, playing center field every day. Maybe once in a while, but certainly not every day with the grind that center field probably takes on a guy's body.
Mm-hmm. Well, you bring up. So, do you feel, now that we start talking about the depth, Jacoby Ellsbury, because Jacoby Ellsbury did not play one regular season game last season, they're said that he's going to come back, or he's reporting to spring training on Sunday. So, what do you expect from Jacoby Ellsbury this season?
I mean, it's tough to expect anything, and Jacoby is a great guy to deal with. He's been a professional, but like you mentioned, I mean, I didn't see him once during the regular season last year, and he'll be reporting this week. There's no way he's going to be ready for opening day, that's for sure. And if you had demanded me to give an answer whether or not I think he'll be a player for the Yankees this season, if I had to go one way or the other, I would say no. But we've seen this type of stuff happen last year. I mean, the Yankees, first week of this season last year in 2018, they had Shane Robinson and Billy McKinney roaming their outfield. So anything could happen. I think it would kind of be ironic and just the way the baseball works that, yeah, we do see Jacoby Ellsbury on this 25-man roster at some point during 2019. It's kind of tough right now to see where that would be, where he fit in, but these things take care of themselves.
Justin, before we head into your career for a quick second, final predictions for the Yankees season. Do you think the Yankees have what it takes this year to win it all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a tough prognosticator, and I am pretty pessimistic when it comes to every team. But when you look at everything on paper, and that's kind of all that you can do right now, yeah, you can see some players doing what they're doing during the springtime. I think the Yankees are the best, if not one of the best teams to contend for a World Series title this year. I think they improved weaknesses over the winter. I think they're a better team than last year's ball club that won 100 games. So you factor all that in, I think they have as good a chance as anyone to win a World Series title.
Mm-hmm. So, Justin, you are the scoreboard and digital host for the New York Yankees. So, in a nutshell, can you describe to the Fuse Nation what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, during the baseball season, what's it all about when you go online? You want to see content, so we push out as much content as we can across all the digital platforms for the Yankees. That's Yankees.com, their Facebook page, the Yankees YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We try to do as much as we can. We push out player interviews, team features. We give minor league reports. So we have a monthly talk with Aaron Boone to kind of assess what's transpired and what to look ahead to. So there's a ton of stuff that we push out. Features are one of the fun things that we get to do for sure. We interact with a lot of the players, and we always have new content up. So it's definitely a place. If you're a Yankee fan, you want to get news and information, it's definitely a place to go.
You talk about the features and the fun, little mini series you get to do. Did you ever have an idea or someone else have an idea that you thought it would be fun and then you did it and then it just didn't work out?
It didn't work out. Well, with a lot of the technology and a lot of the resources that we kind of have incorporated into the game the last few seasons, things with Statcast and TrackMan, I thought it would be cool to kind of have like a sort of like a chalk talk feature with players, coaches, whomever, just to explain. We pick out maybe a play or a guy's approach at the plate, a specific at bat or a specific play out in the outfield that really stood out, and maybe it led to a big win that night, and maybe that continued and led to a string of wins consecutively, and led to a winning streak. So maybe there was one thing to put your finger on, and it just came a little bit difficult because you can understand a lot of these teams, they don't want to discuss their strategy and don't want that out in the open. So we try to pull the curtain back as much as we can, but obviously there's a lot of competitive nature into all this still, and we can't reveal all our secrets, right?
Absolutely. And then going off of that, what's been your favorite feature or miniseries you've got to do, or maybe a new one coming out this season?
Yeah, we have some stuff lined up for 2019, but one of the great pieces that I feel like I myself and our producers are most proud of is something that we did last season, where we like we mentioned, pulled the curtain back. We like to do that as much as we can, and as much as the Yankees would allow us to do, since we are an extension of the team. We work for the team, and we profile the Yankees front office, the analytics department, how it comes into play with the product that you see on the field. What do they do when they identify a talent at the amateur level? How does that translate to them, getting that player into their system? Then what is the plan for that specific player? And we kind of take that and we follow the plan all the way to the major leagues. And then you're kind of seeing what the on-field product is now. And the Yankees are kind of at the forefront. You don't hear that too often because you think, oh, the Yankees, they have big pockets. They don't traditionally rely on analytics. Well, that's not the case. They're one of the most analytically driven teams in Major League Baseball. So we kind of peeled the onion back on that a little bit, and it was really fun to do, really fun to talk to a lot of the scouts and the analysts in the front office, and we were just nominated for an Emmy for the piece, so we're really proud of that one.
Well, congratulations on that. And you talk about you have a monthly sit down with Aaron Boone. Do you have a favorite Aaron Boone story?
Well, yeah, it kind of just goes to show the kind of loose and just all around great guy that Aaron Boone is, and he really is. He has a great personality, a really good sense of humor as well. But I'm not too gifted in the height category. I hold my own 5'8", but he's a lot taller, and when we stand right next to each other on TV, kind of looks a little awkward. So our first time, without even him we didn't ask him to do anything, but he kind of just spread out his feet a little bit so it would naturally make him look shorter while he was standing next to me. So it's something that you can't see on camera, but that was one of my first interactions with him, with Aaron Boone. Right the day he was introduced as the Yankee manager, we had to sit down with him. So we were sitting down across from one another, but the first time we stood next to each other on camera, he's like, "Oh, I'll help you out here," and he spread out his feet. So it was like he was doing a halfway split just to accommodate us. So that was pretty nice.
That's awesome. And last question, this is my favorite one to ask any either baseball reporter, player, or just a fan of baseball in general. If a 15-year-old kid came up to you, Justin, and told you that they don't get baseball and it's boring, what would you say to him?
Well, I would say that if it's boring in your eyes, maybe explain to them some of the stuff that I really like about it, And if it's still boring to them, then that's their choice. I can't convince anyone to like something. But for a 15-year-old, I know that I wasn't watching the game the way I am now. I'm not locked. I wasn't locked into every pitch or every defensive alignment. I wasn't so focused on the game that's going on within the game, and the battle that's taking place between a pitcher and a hitter. Maybe it's a 12 pitch at bat and what the pitcher needs to do next. How he needs to approach the right-handed hitter with a 1-2 count against him and a guy on second. Maybe kind of point out the finer things that are going on within the game as the larger game is taking place. And if, again, like I said, if they can't appreciate that, then maybe baseball may not be for them. But I don't know if there's anything right now with the rules in place. And I know this is the egg that everyone's trying to crack. How do you make the game more appealing to a younger generation when they're watching the game with their phone in their hand, ready to go and look at it, and you better have that attention captured, and otherwise you're going to lose them. I don't necessarily know if there is anything that can capture that fan's attention. I know they're trying, and people a lot smarter than I are trying to crack that egg, like I said. So I'm not sure if you can try and convince people to tell them that baseball is interesting. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it's the greatest game. And the reasons that I have may be very different from another person who loves baseball. So all I can do is try and impart the reasons why I love the game to a 15-year-old, like you said, and hopefully they take something away from that.
Well, Justin, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning to come on my show today. And where can the Fuse Nation follow you on Twitter and Instagram throughout the whole baseball season? Like I said earlier, 13 days away.
Yeah, I have a really, really complicated handle on both Twitter and Instagram. It is my name, so it's just at Justin Shackil. That's it. My first and last name Shackil, and you can find me there.
Perfect. Thank you again, Justin, for coming on today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex, for having me.
Of course, anytime. All right, Fuse Nation, just heard it from Justin Shackil, the scoreboard and digital host for the New York Yankees. And once again, I want to say thank you, Fuse Nation, for listening. And we will be back here live at 1 p.m. with Courtney Cox, who is a NESN reporter for the Boston Red Sox and also the Boston Celtics and Bruins. Once again, thank you, Fuse Nation, for listening, and I'll be seeing you at 1.